Sign up to the SBR Network and use your free daily bet points to earn real-world prizes. Click on the page and start winning now.
What's happening? Welcome to SBRforum.com. In this video, we're taking a look at Game 2 between the New York Rangers and the Montreal Canadiens. Now, if you watched Game 1, oh my goodness, what the hell happened to the Canadiens? Blown out at home, one of their worst playoff losses of all time. And we're talking about an original 6 teams. So since the beginning of history, that was one of their worst losses in the playoffs ever. Very storied franchise, but that was one of their lowlights. Well, so what are we looking at in Game 2? Obviously, you got some people who took the Habs, i.e. like me, questioning whether things are going to get back on track. You've got some people who've got the Habs not only on the series, but taking a look at how they played in Game 1 and thinking, hey, maybe the Rangers are pretty good value for Game number 2, because it would seem like their style might work at slowing down the Canadiens. But however, I think that don't panic yet. Now is not the time. I think even if the Rangers go up 2-0, Montreal can still come back and win this series. However, I don't think it gets to that point for a couple of reasons. First of all, Game 1 was an aberration from the norm in a number of respects. First of all, the Rangers had got nothing out of Rick Nash. 0 goals in the postseason until Game 1. He finally scores. Their power play had been horrendous this postseason. They scored 3 power play goals in Game number 1. Normally, Montreal is a very disciplined team. They took 7 penalties in Game number 1. We want some more aberrations from the trend. Well, in the last 6 meetings between these teams, the Rangers had scored just 2 goals. As for Game number 1, they scored 7. So that shows you that really a number of things deviating from the norm. Henrik Lundqvist hadn't won in Montreal since 2009. He obviously gets the win and played pretty well, was actually stonewalled the Habs, even though he doesn't traditionally have a lot of success against them. So I think all those things get back to normal. I mean, Montreal had the best offense of all the playoff teams coming into the game. I think they get back to business. Really, this game is about the first goal. In the postseason, the last round or so, it has been about the first goal. What are we at now? 26 of the last 28 winners have scored the first goal in the game. So I think that's really the difference. We saw it in the Rangers and Penguins series, team that scored first won every game. We saw that with Montreal and Boston as well. I think that's very important in this series here. Montreal scores first. The Rangers are a different team when they have to come from behind. When they're playing with the lead, as we saw, they're a very good defensive team. Kind of hard to break through that wall. So first goal is critical. But I think Montreal is going to play more like they did in the second period. Of game number 1. I think that's how they start game number 2 and play significantly better. Obviously, they ended that period very poorly, but I think they come out with that spark, that passion. That was really lacking in period number 1. I think it gets back to business. We've seen the Rangers win game number 1 now. This would be 3 series in a row. They beat Philadelphia in round 1 in game 1, beat Pittsburgh, surprising a lot of people, in round 2, game number 1. They did it with Montreal as well. However, you take a look back, they've lost game 2 every single time. This is a team that, even dating back a couple of postseasons now, is not great at putting their foot on the throat of the opponent. They get ahead, let the opponent come back. They get ahead, let the opponent come back. I think we see an excellent effort from Montreal. We get back to the norm in this series, which is a series that Montreal typically dominates. I think the Rangers' power play falls asleep again. Rick Nash will not be scoring goals. But any way you slice it, I think Montreal leaves the Bell Center and heads to Madison Square Garden with this series knotted up 1 game apiece. Thanks for watching this video right here on SBRforum.com. We'll talk to you again soon.